was your ability to disrupt. And disruption is something in business I look at. I want to look how I can disrupt a segment and so forth. And the way that you come onto the scene, it was like overnight. Tom Waterhouse was on our screens every day. He was before our footy games, before the tennis, with both codes of footy and so forth. And I guess that now we're still seeing your DNA in all the ads of Sportsbet and all the, they're still doing these live reads and so forth. Like, what was your decision to move to TV? How did that come about?
There's probably three bits to it. Is that we didn't know how much money we were going to spend on TomWaterhouse.com when we started it. We just knew that we had to have an internet offering for our clients because they were moving to the internet. And then I went on TVN with my mum at Moonee Valley one night. They just said, "Oh, come on for a few minutes," and they mentioned, "Oh, what are you up to now?" And I said, "Oh, we've launched TomWaterhouse.com. It's an internet betting site. It's doing this," and we got sign-ups spiked. When I say sign-ups spiked, we might have got like 20 new clients.
Yeah.
But I was like, gosh, 20 new clients that just went on that. Maybe this TV thing's worth giving a go. My brother-in-law was working at Channel 9 at the time. They couldn't sell to a wagering operator the Rugby World Cup. And so we ended up getting that at what Channel 9 said was a large discount, but I don't know how much of a discount it actually was. And we got that, and that worked well in terms of sign-ups. And then we, a company called Bet247, they used the back end of a company that went in liquidation, and they no longer could. They were relying on this company to provide the pricing and the betting system, and that went down. And so they wanted to offload that business quickly. And we went in, just talked with them on a Friday afternoon. We ended up signing the deal with them at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday to buy their business from them. And the business, the real great bits about that business is the founder of that business was a very savvy marketeer and had built several businesses and done a great job building them up. And he bought up with Bet247 a whole bunch of media rights. So he bought like the regional AFL, the tennis, regional rugby league, a whole bunch of regional sports properties. And so we suddenly had them and started putting our ads on these programs and realised it worked really well. And we thought, well, it seems live sports the only thing that's really working with TV spend. We tried some general spend, and there's only a certain amount of it. Really, Australians only watch AFL, rugby league, maybe a bit of racing, maybe a bit of cricket and the tennis for a couple of weeks. Yeah. And we saw all these overseas operators coming in, and we thought, well, if there's only a certain amount of it, we need to buy up as much as possible. And that was really our thinking behind it, and it worked well. Obviously, the business grew through the roof.
I believe the NRL deal that you did was quite opportunistic in terms of TAB had the NRL coverage, and then you kind of come in last minute, or how did that work?
I just sort of thought I'd touch base in that we were looking for new properties all the time, and there's only a certain amount, and obviously basketball was really big from a client betting point of view, and I thought, well, I'll just go and speak to the TV executives and see, well, what other properties coming about? Are they thinking about other sports? Is there stuff that we could have integrated content on and stuff like that? And David Gingell, who ran Channel 9's a genius in this area of what works on TV, what are people going to watch, how to integrate stuff. And so anytime you can get with him and just to listen and learn is valuable. And I didn't really have an agenda except just to chew the fat, and lucky to get some time speaking with him. And I got onto the subject of, look, we'd love to have rugby league. Is there any chance of getting it? He's like, look, there's no chance. Tab's had it for years, and the chance of getting it is basically going to renew it. And I said, well, look, what about if they don't renew it? Would something like this look attractive, that we do a 5-year deal, pay $60 million for it, have all the ad spend that they do, but the extra stuff we're paying for is to be integrated, and have a segment just before they kick off of this is what's happening in betting this week, and have and he's like, look, that sounds a great idea. If you could pay us that amount of money and Tab didn't renew, well, we'd be very interested. but they're probably going to renew, and didn't give much more thought. And I used to go, what day are they going? Is their renewal date? And so I noted it down and called at 5 o'clock that day, and they hadn't renewed. Obviously they didn't realise it was a tight timeline. I said, look, we're willing to sign now, 5 years, we need this integration. And he's like, yep, great, we'll do it. And so we agreed on the deal, and that was probably, I don't know, September or something in 2012. But I'd never really spent much time on TV. I've been on the Dancing with the Stars TV show a little bit. I've been on a few integration, but nothing really like live talking about a sport. I don't really follow rugby league. I used to follow when the Broncos when I was a kid, now Alfie when he used to play, but it had been 10 years of not watching rugby league, and I don't know it anywhere in the same realm as someone that's played the game or anything like that. I'm not some expert on it. I got closer and closer, sort of got to January, and I'm like, actually, I'm freaking out a bit. I would have gone for 5 minutes on TV before the main rugby league game and talk about rugby league and sport, which is very different to talking about racing.
Yeah.
And so they go and gave me a test run, and a guy called Steve Crawley, who ran the sport at Channel 9, he got me in front of the camera and gave me a few goes, and after 10-15 minutes he said, look, in all my time doing sport on TV, I've never seen anyone with less talent than you.
Yeah.
And I think we're in for a real world of pain.
Oh, wow.
I've got to think about it. And so they came back and said, look, we can't have you for 5 minutes at the very beginning just by yourself. What we'll do is we'll put you on the commentary panel, and that means if you forget what you're talking about or you don't know, you've got this support system that they can help you. So you'll be there for 5 minutes, but you won't have, it's just you, and then after a few weeks, we'll go more to you, so we comply with the deal. Well, kicked off and the backlash, we'd had basically all good publicity up until this point, but the backlash was significant because I was integrating on their content, looking like I was a rugby league expert or something.
Yep.
And that wasn't the intention. It was only because my lack of skill in terms of presenting. And so we never actually got to where I had my 5 minutes of alone time on TV. It was more just that we tried that for a bit, and backlash was significant. And then obviously looked like there was going to be changing legislation the way that you can advertise and market it. And we pulled back and adapted significantly.